Welcome to the episode of the Love and Reality Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, I'm going to be recapping and reviewing the brand new season of Survivor 47. It has kicked off with 18 new castaways competing against each other to win $1 million. Very excited about this season. This past week here in Nashville, they had a nice little event for Survivor. It was the beach drop. You can check out some of that footage over on my YouTube, or not YouTube, on my Instagram page at Ricky Valera _. But throughout the entirety of season 47, I will be breaking down and recapping my thoughts on everything that goes down on each and every episode. All right. So without further ado, of course, we know players competing on the 47th season include a flight owner, a flight school owner, an ER doctor, AI research assistant, our fans from diverse backgrounds bringing fresh perspective to this new era and game. And at the end of it, only one sole survivor will win $1 million. Wednesday, September the 18th, had the 2-hour premiere. I do believe it moves to an hour and a half weekly starting next week. This was a pretty damn good openings episode, and let's go ahead and dive right into episode 47. All right, folks, before we do that as well, I do want to share with you guys, if you're watching here on the YouTube channel, I'm going to be adding a little handy dandy thing so you can see who's still on the show each and every week. You can match the faces with the, who I'm talking about with the faces of the people. Shout out to a reality TV fan over on Instagram who makes these charts for damn near every damn show. This one looks out perfect because we've got a blue team, a red team, and a yellow team. Part of red team is Aisha, Genevieve, Teeny, Rome, Soul, and Keyshawn. And then, of course, team yellow is Sierra, Rachel, Annika, John, Sam, and Andy. And then on team blue, we have Tiana, Sue, Caroline, TK, Gabe, and Kyle. Those are our three teams that are starting off on Survivor Season 47. The first test, of course, is waiting for them in the jungle. And we got this kind of like obstacle course thing where they have to go underneath this net, race to the jungle, untie a bunch of puzzle pieces. Two people from each team are going to go. You go get the puzzle pieces. You bring back the puzzle pieces. And then, of course, somebody has to assemble the puzzle. The first team that does it gets the goodies to start the competition, right? So, let's see here. Blah, 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 blah. Kyle kicks off the lead for the blue team. Sam kind of heads back into first place for Team Yellow. This was an interesting back and forth, right? Early on, we as the audience are trying to establish who we think are going to be competitors. First off, shout out to my boy from Nashville, Sam, who kind of kicked ass in this competition. It was pretty awesome. But little tidbits that I saw about competitors that I think that we should keep an eye out for. I'll drop those throughout the episode. But in this particular challenge, we had red team kind of return, got both first. Second team is yellow shortly behind. We see Sue. Okay, she might look like she's a little bit older and it might be one of the weaker links. She threw one of these puzzle pieces, and Jeff said they were heavy on her, like on her back, and just carried that bitch all the way back to the beginning. It was fantastic. TK heads back for the blue, and then yellow was in last. Blue can start solving the puzzle, and then red, just a few moments later, were able to start solving the puzzle. And yellow is a couple minutes behind before they're able to solve their puzzle, which was crazy because yellow ends up winning the first competition, gets those pots and pans and the goodies. But it was so impressive because, again, you can be very good at the physical aspect of Survivor, but if you're not good at solving puzzles, you're in trouble. And that was the biggest takeaway from this episode was the puzzles. You have to have somebody on your team that is good at that, because no matter how many puzzles you can throw on your back, if you can't solve the puzzle in time, then it didn't make any sense why blue team lost this competition, because they were quite a bit ahead. They had a little bit of a lead behind red, and red and blue had a solid lead over yellow, and they came back and won the competition. All right, Aisha and TK are going to battle. Jeff said that they're going to have a chance to win something. It's just not going to be there. They're going to go to a different part of the island while everybody else heads to camp. Of course, the yellow team is elated to have won their first competition. And just a reminder, Sierra, Rachel, Annika, John, Sam, and Andy are our yellow team. And everyone starts to get to know each other, right? You know what I mean? It's early in the process. There's only 6 people in your tribe. You know this is only competition 1. You know there's a lot more riding on this game in the days ahead, right? You know what I mean? These are the first couple of days. We're trying to lay groundwork, but we also know that the immunity challenge is coming. And in the immunity challenge, anybody can go home. You have 6 people on your team. It's not going to take very many votes for you to be on. You know what I'm saying? It's really not, because of the dynamic of opening up on a team. So let's see here. In the yellow team, Andy's jockeying for position by trying to befriend folks. Gabe and Sue. We had Gabe and Sue on team over on the blue team. Sorry, I skipped ahead a little bit there. On the blue team, Gabe and Sue form an alliance to look out for each other, and then Sue adds Caroline to that link, adding her to the fold. And then the red team is building some shelter. Rome and Genevieve are linking up and want to work with Teeny. TK and Aisha are heading to battle. This was cool. They had to find keys. I'm like, man, this is like, I love reality TV. I love watching Survivor, but this is the reality TV show I just couldn't see myself competing on. I wouldn't be very good at it. There's just the mind games, the puzzles and stuff like that. It just would not be me. But TK and Aisha have to find these keys to unlock a box. But the 4th key that they find, there's only one of those keys. So one of them will go back empty-handed. So Aisha realized that the last key was in the ocean. However, she got lost going back to the ocean. And then, of course, TK figured it out and realized it was in the ocean, but he knew his way back on his path. The last key was in the ocean. TK gets into the water. He gets it, and then it was funny because Aisha tried to snag that shit out of his hands, and it didn't work. But TK is going home with the pots and pans for Team Blue, while Aisha, Team Red, is going home empty-handed. Annika is taking charge, and then Sam, my boy from Nashville, enjoys this because he wants to be the glue and not the leader. It makes sense. You want to be helpful, but not overly helpful. You want to be heard, but not overly heard. You know what I mean? You know, we've watched this for 47 seasons now. We know what it takes in order to kind of smoothly work your way through the competition so that nobody's eyeballing just you. You know what I'm saying? That's the big thing here. Sierra said her dad always wanted a boy, and she was her dad's boy. And then we see her start the fire, which the pageant queen starts the fire. You know what I mean? Who knows? Again, you never know who's good at what on these competitions. Just because their job title is one thing or what they were is one thing, it doesn't matter. TK arrives to the blue team with the goods, and everyone is happy. And then when the guys all return together, Caroline goes, there's a bromance. Everybody was falling in love with each other, and it was hilarious. She's just talking about TK, Gabe, and Kyle. They just all had they just had a moment, a boy moment, where they were just kind of like, yeah, boys. And it was pretty funny. Gabe finds the secret note and heads on the path where he's trying to find that immunity idol. TK finds Gabe. TK was quite suspicious. It's the potential beware advantage. Team Red, Aisha returns without supplies. Teeny meets with Aisha, saying she's a massive fan of Aisha's podcast. And she does a podcast on Survivor. And now this is kind of scaring Aisha because she's trying to form a mini alliance, but does she see her as a threat because of how much knowledge she has on the game itself? Rome has disappeared and trying to find the advantage, and people are beginning to be suspicious. The one thing about Gabe was Gabe found it, and yes, somebody busted him. But when somebody busted him, he kind of took that step back a little bit, right? So his mission proves fruitful as he finds a note, but he says he'll come back later for it. Team Blue, we see Tiana eat a earthworm, and it was like, that's another reason why. Nope. So Gabe approaches Sue, who built the alliance early on, shows her the note, and he wants her to be the lookout for him as he goes and finds the box. So he's back on the voting board for the next tribal council, but if he wants to continue down this path, he can save himself for the next 3 tribal councils. So that's pretty good information for him if he gets this. John on Team Yellow here are, the podcast from Pod Save America. He's 41. He's feeling like a grandpa with his team. I memean, his team over here is pretty. I mean, let's be real. It is they are kind of young. You know what I mean? He got some young ones on his team. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know how I got rid of this. Good job, Ricky. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So moving right along, obviously, he's feeling old. Andy and Rachel are linking up, but she doesn't believe anything he really says because he feels like he's a game player. He wakes her up in the middle of the night, and that doesn't make her happy because she's like, look, I understand wanting to have conversations, but wandering off in the middle of the night and having conversations, people kind of wake up and they're like, where's Andy and Rachel? Are they looking for stuff? Are they doing stuff they're not supposed to be doing? Are they game planning, scheming without us? She doesn't provide the empathy that he was kind of looking for, and that kind of frustrated him. Gabe found the immunity out for the next 3 idols. And he has his he could have an opportunity to go again, but he stops there. So he has that idol for the next 3 voting challenges. Red team, Roma's trying to find it, and Aisha walked up on him trying to find it. She goes back and tells everyone. They as he continues to hunt, they pull up on him, and he just bails. Like, that's the most suspicious thing ever. If you're looking for this big target on your back, like, congratulations, it's there now, player. Like, it's I don't understand why we continue to play these games and not play them very smart. I understand wanting to find immunities. It's important. You know what I mean? But it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. All right, moving on to our first immunity challenge. They will start on a platform. They will have to get in a boat, paddle the boat to this little area where they will put puzzle pieces on the boat. Once they get the boat to the shore with everybody and the puzzle pieces in the boat to shore, they pull it up. They have to push it across the thing, and then they have to have 3 people try to solve the puzzle. The first 2 teams, of course, that cross the line and solve the puzzle are going to be safe from elimination. All right, so that being said, of course, the first team that finishes not only gets immunity, but they get a survivor building kit. Second team gets a little bit smaller version and immunity as well. And then, of course, the losers will go to tribal council and lose their flame. Hang on one second. I just lost my spot. To be honest with you guys, I'm a big fan of challenges, right? We all are. We're a big fan of the challenges. But my favorite part is watching these teams struggle bus. Yellow, everybody gets in the boat. They veer off into the beaten path of the water, so they have to veer back in. Struggles mightily. They finally are able to get their things together, and then the team blue also get things together, and their boat completely flipped over. And I mean, this was hilarious because not just seconds later, yellow also flipped their boat. It was some of the funniest stuff you'll ever see. I really found myself rolling and laughing my tail off because these guys just could not knock it out of the ballpark, and it just kept on flipping the boats. Red team was kicking ass from start to finish. They made it to land. Eventually, team blue and yellow make it to land. Red is onto the puzzle building part of it. They knock it out of the ballpark. They're the first team to finish. It wasn't even close. They were light years in front of everybody. And then it was blue versus yellow. Blue had a massive advantage. I wrote down slight advantage. It started off pretty close, but yellow, whoever saw puzzles earlier in the game and wanted that immunity to have them catch up and win to win the pots and pans. And now with this competition, 2 totally different games. 2 totally different games here. Kind of blew my mind a little bit. Blue won second place, and yellow just completely sucked at the puzzle. Andy, in the midst of the competition, goes down. And what I loved about this right here is obviously it shows the level of care that Jeff has for these contestants to ensure their safety. Medical come over and kind of checked on him, asked him if he wanted to go home. He said no. Andy's like laying there and he's like, I'm going home. I'm going home. I'm going home. I'm going home. And he's like, nah, man, you just got to be protective. You know what I mean? You got to be, just be smart about how you feel here. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, Jeff calms him down. He comes back into the game, said he was a little overheated. He said he feels at the bottom and doesn't think his team likes him. Because, Jeff was going to call out, hey, man, how you feeling over there? And he calls out his team saying they doesn't think he likes them. He said one of the craziest things in the history of Survivor on this thing. He said his friend in the game is John. And he said he planned on throwing him under the bus to save himself. He said that in front of everybody, the entire team, both teams. He says out loud the part that you should not say out loud. And it's like people from the other teams were like, what? What did he just say? Did he just really say that? Yes, he really did just say that. It was wild. Jeff asked John about Andy's confession. John kind of gives like a PC style answer here, which is kind of weird. But he took their flame for the night, obviously. Andy addresses the dumbass things that he said. He said it caused by his insecurities. He did say he feels only 80%, which Annika was not very happy about, because if he's only 80% on day 3, what is he going to be day 5, 6, 7, and 8? She's got good points there. John is trying to talk his way into staying. The ladies are telling Andy that they're going for John, but they're really going for Andy. That's what they told him. John said he doesn't like the plan, so John tries his own jockeying for position, right? John heads over and he starts talking to Andy about how he wants Annika out of the game. And John and Andy are like gun-ho for this plan, but then they approach Sam, and Sam's like, nah, fam. Definitely not joining that boat. Sam tells the camera right away there's no way he votes for her, and recognizes Andy is a strong game player and John isn't. Again, this early in the show, this vote, this competition, these things highlighted one ginormous thing that we continuously do and understand on this show, and that is the strength in numbers matter, right? If you're a good competitor, if you're a good builder, if you're a good game player, and I mean physical game player, you might have a better chance of sticking around early on versus somebody that's not. And that's exactly what happened at the Tribal Council. Okay, Annika got one vote, but John got not one, not two, but 3 votes. I think it was 4 votes to be the first eliminated person from this game. Not shocked at all, because again, Andy might be a little bit of a loose cannon, but as long as you keep the strength in numbers, then you have somebody there that has backbone that can help you win competitions. Period. End of story. You know what I mean? Now, we did see Team Red and Team Blue hunt down some of the idols and stuff like that you can find, but Yellow have not jumped on board yet. So that'd be an interesting strategy to see if someone like Andy, who feels like his back's against the wall, will jump on top of the idea of doing just that. So that being said, folks, we got some strong competitors early in this game. I'm going to pick one person from each team that I think is the strongest competitor. And for me right now, if we're looking at the blue team, I almost went Sue, but I'm definitely going to have to go TK, especially after finding the information that he did. And then on Team Red, I'm going to go, this one's hard because I don't really feel like nobody really stood out on the red team for me. Won the competitions and stuff like that, but maybe Rome, but the target on his back is so big. Aisha is somebody that I believe is going to be a strong competitor, even though she lost. And on the Team Yellow, I'm probably going to go, I think Annika's probably the best game player right now, but Sam might be a dark horse to really make some moves behind the scenes that I think it would work out very well. All right, folks, that being said, who do you think right now, after the first episode, has a strong opportunity to take home the Survivor prize and the $1 million? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of first episode as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning into another episode of Love and Reality Podcast. We'll be back next week for episode 2 of Survivor 40.